What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters Allstar video. And in today's video, we are going to be talking all about the newest Halloween events to be added into the King of Fighters Allstar for the 2021 Halloween event, because there is a lot of excitement around this thing now that we have gotten a chance to actually get our hands on it and take a look at this stuff, because there's actually some pretty good stuff in here, you guys, including a generic boss syndrome memory. However, there may very well be a little bit of a catch with that thing, which we'll talk about. But before we get into all of that and more, if you guys are new here to the channel, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. We're trying to hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and you could help us achieve that goal. So let's go ahead and get into the video. So as you guys can see, you will be able to find all of these new Halloween events over here in the Events Special Page tab, but we're going to take a look here and start off with the Protect the Halloween Cake Advent Dungeon. Now, as I just mentioned, you can find this over in the Advent Dungeon tab, and this is going to be basically just a rerun of what we saw last Halloween, and what you'll get for clearing this thing once per day is you'll get some AS souls, you'll also get some purple AS souls, and some XP capsules, and of course we'll get some rubies for clearing it for the first time as well. You can do this once per day. Really not a whole lot to talk about here, just going to be more homework each and every day, so all you'll have to do is come in here, get this thing done. Anybody should be able to clear this thing no matter where you're at in the game, because these tend to be very easy, so shouldn't be anything too crazy. The recommended CP on it is only 3,000, so shouldn't be that difficult for all of you out there to get through that, and you'll be rewarded with some extra souls. So the next thing we're going to take a look at here is going to be the new Rush Dungeon event, because there's quite a bit to talk about here. This is actually really cool, so we're going to start off here. Now, of course, as you guys can see, the first weird thing that I noticed when I clicked on this is the fact that all of these are open at the exact same time. Now, it tends to be with these Rush Dungeon events that they'll start off with the first chapter open, and then they'll open up the next couple of them over the course of 24 to 48 hours, but for whatever reason, they decided to give us the whole thing this time around. Not quite sure why. I can't really recall a time in the past they've done this, but hey, we'll take it, right? It just means we can start grinding this thing now. So as you guys can see, this is going to be set up just like any other Rush Dungeon event. We've had a lot of Rush Dungeons in the past couple of months, so everybody should be fairly familiar with these things by now. You will be able to get that 50 rubies for clearing the final one, as well as the first chapter. So you're going to get 100 free rubies a day as long as you're doing this each and every single day. Make sure that you guys are doing that. And of course, the rewards for clearing the second one, not going to be as good, but still worth doing every day. So in the end, the overall structure is pretty much exactly what we've come to expect. You're going to have the characters that you're going to be able to use for your bonus drop rates for your items, and as you'll see, it's going to be your Halloween characters, because of course this is a Halloween themed event. All the Halloween cards as well are going to come in handy, so nice stuff overall here. But the biggest reason why you're going to want to put those characters and those cards together in order to grind this thing is, of course, as always, going to be the exchange shop. And if you've been with the game for any discernible amount of time, the first question that leaps to mind is, of course, is the exchange shop even worth it? Well, let's take a look. You tell me. Doesn't look familiar, does it? Looks a lot better than it usually does, doesn't it? Yeah. This time around, they knocked it out of the park. This thing is actually got a lot of value, you guys. I'm very happy with what I'm seeing here. So we're going to talk about the new card, because of course the Where's Kyo option card is the big standout here. But real quick, I just want to point out a couple of things. We have a Halloween Fest Fighter selector on here. Now, it is limited to one per account, but as you'll see here, you can pick up Halloween Gatecrasher Chris as well as Alice. These are last year's Halloween characters. They did just buff these two characters, which we're not going to talk too much about in this video today, because we already covered that yesterday. If you want to check that out, link will be in the description. I am going to be testing both of these characters out over the course of the next few days, and I will definitely let you guys know how I feel about their buffs. But in general, it's really cool that they are allowing everybody at least one copy of one of these characters. That's really cool. All you got to do is grind this dungeon, which really shouldn't be that big of a deal. Biggest kind of thing that might stand in your way at that point might be your AP, because we have been doing a lot of AP stuff lately, so there's a lot of things you're sinking AP into right now, so it could be tough, but in the end, probably going to be worth it for a lot of people out there, especially if they are thin on best fighters. But then you'll also have this one here where you can pick up one of the gold Halloween fighters. This is also really cool. You know, obviously some of these characters are going to be better than others. My recommendation would be a character like maybe the Halloween Party Kula. You could even maybe look at Shang-Fi. You can maybe even at that point, if you really want to, look at somebody else in here from those besides those two. But honestly, those are the two I would recommend if I were picking one. But really, it's up to you at that point. I just think it's really cool that they have those in there. So yeah, it's really cool that they did this. This is a very stacked exchange shop. Of course, you're going to have your Moon and your Star plus imprint core selection boxes here, which is really going to be nice as well. You're going to have plus imprint stone selection boxes and those refresh daily. So this is really cool here. You can actually select which one of these you want. Now, of course, my recommendation to most people most of the time is going to be that you want this yellow square stone. That tends to be my favorite one for all of these things. There's definitely a case to be made for some of these other ones as well, like your HP recovery stones are useful for certain things and so on and so forth. But really, those are the ones that I like. And then if we take a look down here, it gets better. We actually have All-Star Fighter summon tokens for both the fighters as well as the cards, and these refresh on a daily basis, and they're actually not all that expensive. So it's pretty interesting. We can actually grind and actually farm these tokens right now. Now, of course, the unified banner isn't necessarily the greatest thing in the world anymore, but for all of you beginners and intermediates out there who don't have a lot of those characters, you may want to definitely invest in this. In fact, everybody should be investing in this and getting these every day, but particularly in the case of a new player, this is going to be very beneficial because by the end of this event, they can do some multis on the unified banner and not have to spend rubies and help build up their account, hopefully, if they can get some characters from their raid up. So that's really cool. You get rare enhancement hammers, you can get up to 5 per day, and in general, after that, you just have kind of your filler items like your souls and then your gold. But this is a really stacked exchange shop, you guys. This is something we have been begging for them to do, and that is to change these things up and make them valuable. Well, they definitely did so here. Very happy with what I'm seeing. But let's go ahead now and talk about the new card. This is going to be the Halloween option card for 2021, and it is going to increase your active skill damage. You're going to gain power whenever you land an active skill, and it's going to increase your penetration. In general, this is a really good little option card. This isn't bad at all. In fact, this is a pretty decent card for a free card. You know, you're increasing your active skill damage. I'm not sure what this thing maxes out at, obviously, without being able to build it up, but I'd imagine that these are going to end up capping off at the usual numbers. So in general, this thing looks like it's pretty darn good as far as your free cards are concerned. I don't really necessarily know of a lot of instances where you're probably going to be using it for a whole lot of anything, but at the same time, anytime a card is going to give you power and is also going to be increasing your active skill damage as a flat active skill buff, that's pretty good. So in general, pretty good little card. Not a whole lot for me to say about it outside of that. I'll definitely pick it up, build it up, and test it out, but at the same time, I do think that it's better than some of these other free option cards that we've gotten in the past for some of these events. So you definitely will want to pick this up because you never know if you're going to have a chance to get it again. So I would definitely take advantage and make sure that you get that. Again, it is going to be a little bit pricey, but all it is something you have to grind for. So in general, you guys, I definitely see a lot of people spending a lot of AP on this event. There is a lot of cool stuff in here, and I do think it is worth investing your AP right now, so go for it if you want to. A lot of cool items in that exchange shop, but now we're going to go ahead and move on, and we're going to talk about the new relay dungeon. And yeah, guys, there's a lot to talk about here because they definitely want you to try and beat this thing, because if we take a look at the reward info and we scroll through here, we see a lot of really cool stuff. We'll have some rubies, you got some hammers, you're gonna have a bunch of capsules, ton of capsules. But oh wait, what's that? What's that? That's a BS generic memory. My God. So yeah, guys, this thing is going to be probably, it's going to be the most controversial part of the whole update, and I'll definitely tell you guys why. So basically, the thing about this thing is you can get a BS generic memory, but you're going to notice the amount of damage you're going to need to put on this boss. So basically, with this thing, the hard thing about this is going to be the fact that you can only use Halloween fighters, and that is going to be very difficult for a lot of people out there, especially people who lack some of these Halloween fighters or may just be getting into the game and don't have any of them. So I could definitely see this being fairly difficult for people in that camp. For us veterans, this definitely isn't going to be as difficult as it may seem when you actually get into this thing, because I did test out a little bit, and I think that really what you're going to rely on is just your 3PG finishers for your characters. Specifically, if you're somebody that has the Kula 3PG finisher from the latest SS banner, this one right here, then if you have this, I get the feeling that this is going to make your life a lot less difficult for this. But in general, you guys, this doesn't feel like a relay dungeon that is meant to be for everybody as far as who's going to clear it and who isn't. This almost feels like this was built for people who have been playing the game for a while, or people who are willing to invest on a bunch of these different characters real quick just to get it done, which is up to you at that point. Of course, you can go into that Rush Dungeon Exchange shop and pick up either a copy of a character or a memory or whatever the case may be. I wouldn't go out of my way to be pulling on the Unified banner or anything like that in order to get some memories for these characters just to do this. I think that that would be a bit of a waste. So really, you're going to have to work with what you got on this, because again, you don't have a whole lot of options. I'll show you guys real quick here, but really this is going to be what you can use. So it's going to be pretty relegated. Like I said, I think Kula is probably going to be the MVP here, especially if you do have that 3PG from her original SS run, but at the same time, it's going to come down to what you got. So this is going to be difficult, but again, the rewards are definitely worth it. Really quick here, we'll go through again, but you get a bunch of rubies. You're going to get a lot of capsules in here, whether they're XP capsules or your attack HP or defense capsules. You're going to get a ton of hammers. So in general, this is really going to be valuable for anybody who can clear it. I'm going to spend some time today with it and see if I can get this thing cleared out. Shouldn't be too difficult. It just seems like it's going to be kind of a monotonous thing more than anything, where I'm just going to have to sit through a ton of finishers. So in general, guys, I'll try to build a guide for this thing if I can and get that out to you guys over the course of the next few days. I definitely want to get back to my tier list videos this week so I can at least get another 1 or 2 of those in this week, so stay tuned for that. But I do want to try and get a guide out for you guys on this as well. But really, I think that just beyond some of the details we just talked about, that's really going to be all there is to it, because honestly, you're just going to have a lot of these Halloween characters and have built them up to a considerable awakening level in order to probably get through this. And again, you're going to definitely need to rely on your finishers. So in general, that is pretty much what we're looking at there. Now, of course, there is going to be one last thing I do want to go ahead and talk about, and that's actually going to be in the Halloween shop here. So we are going to have a bunch of packages. I'll go ahead and break these down for you guys real quick and let you guys know if I see any value in any of these. But let's go ahead and take a look here, and we'll start off with the Halloween Fighter package. Now, of course, this is going to have some of your Halloween Fighter selectors in it and your card selectors, so there's going to be quite a bit in here. You're basically going to be able to either pick one of either Gatecrasher Chris or Alice, and then if you take a look at this one here, you're going to get a gold fighter of your choice, and then you can go ahead and pick up a special card of your choice, which most of these, or all of these actually, are just going to be your generic 5PG cards. And then you're going to get some purple souls to build them. I wouldn't buy this, it's not worth it. Then if you take a look at this one here, again, another Halloween Fest fighter selector. You're going to have your Chris and your Alice in there. This is going to be for your gold characters. Then you're going to get some XP capsules, some plus capsules. $40, I'd pass on it. Then the next one, pass on it. And then this one here, this one's okay, but honestly, I just pass on that too. So in general, guys, I'd pass on all these. Sorry if that was brief with that, but I don't think it's really worth going into much detail. So in the end, you guys, that is pretty much going to be it for the Halloween events that were added in. Like I said, they did buff Chris and Alice. I will be working on getting some footage of them, or at least testing them to see how much of a difference those buffs make in PvE, and I'll let you guys know my findings. But in the end, I do think that this is a really, really strong Halloween event. I'm very happy with what we got this year. I think that in general, if they really wanted to knock it out of the park, they probably should have given us new Halloween characters, especially since a lot of this content is asking for you to use Halloween characters. It would have been nice to get some updated Halloween characters for the year, but who knows, maybe they're planning on doing so next week or something. We never know. So in the end, you guys, that is going to be it for today's video. Let me know in the comments section down below what you think of this event, and until the next one, I'll talk to you guys then. Peace.
Continue.